So you finally found that perfect someone, but there's something off. They're not actually the perfect fit. Actually, and strangely enough, things really aren't working out between the two of you. So why in the name of Cupid would it be that you would find the perfect someone that turns out to be an imperfect fit? Would you believe that there is actually a perfectly logical explanation for this and a solution to this dilemma? By the end of this video, you will have an understanding of one of the biggest blocks that may be preventing you from finding a good relationship, why it's there in the first place, and how to fix it. Would it surprise you if I told you that you might just be sabotaging yourself by dating only your type? Oh yes. As a matter of fact, it might even benefit you to intentionally go out and find someone to date who was not your type. In fact, there's a trend right now called Untyping, in which this is intentionally the trend. So what really even is Untyping before we dive straight in? I mean, if you ask me, it sounds a little bit like someone leaning hard on the backspace key on a keyboard. But no, actually, this is the latest trend, at least at the time of this publication, in dating. And if you really look into it, it's actually a pretty good idea. So what even is Untyping? Okay, well, you're going to be hard-pressed to find any information out there online because apparently it's that new. The best way that I have found to describe it is Untyping is the process in which you are deliberately choosing to date people that you would normally not consider dating. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is you're choosing to date someone that doesn't fit or maybe even completely goes against what you would normally consider to be a dating option. As an example, let's say you normally would date someone with blonde hair, but instead you decide to untype and date someone with brown hair. And that would be Untyping. This may be a very surface level example, but it's still a pretty good example. And I know, you're probably thinking, but wait a minute, why would I choose to intentionally go outside of my normal expectations when it comes to dating? Isn't it kind of important that I find somebody that I have things in common with? Well, yes, it is important that you find somebody that you have things in common with. After all, you need to have some common ground with this person. But do you really know, and I mean, do you really know what kind of person would be the best fit for you? I mean, doesn't the saying go, I found my missing puzzle piece, not my same puzzle piece? Common ground is good, but too much familiarity can breed contempt, and opposites do attract. So with that in mind, you may be surprised to find that you connect better with someone who originally you would have never considered even dating. So why might having a type in the first place be such a detrimental thing to you? Well, if you go through life and all you do is date the same person over and over and over again, are you really learning about the kind of woman that you would like to date or maybe even be in a relationship with? Maybe, just maybe, and I realize I drew this other puzzle piece looking like a bottle opener. Don't judge my drawing. But the point that I'm trying to get at here is, what if you decided to date somebody that was not your type? You might actually have a chance at forming a better connection with that person. The problem is you end up depriving yourself of learning about the different traits in a woman that you might pair best with. For example, maybe you thought that you would like a woman who was completely devoid of tattoos, didn't have a one on her. But then, just on an off chance, you happen to find someone and you really, really like her personality, but she has a tattoo. Well, now in your mind, of course, you're thinking, no, that's unacceptable. No, I can't date her. She has a tattoo. But as with all things in love and war, the battle is already lost because you've already decided that you liked her personality, and slowly but surely she's gotten under your skin. And you come to find out that not only is she an amazing person, but you just might even come to the point of asking yourself why you never considered someone like her in the first place. Who knows? She might even be the one. By forcing yourself to stay with a certain type, you also end up depriving yourself of learning about yourself. Who knows? You might even find a woman that can show you a part of life that you've been missing out on all along. And now you not only have a chance to experience new things in life, but you have somebody, essentially a guide, who can experience them with you. Now, is that not great or what? The only disadvantage with all of this is that your mind has been trained to search for your ideal type. Even unconsciously, your mind is going to make suggestions as to one type or another. And it may not even be for any reason other than the fact that you've dated women like this all along, all throughout your entire life. So for example, your mind may be preconditioned to seek out certain types of women. I realize this brain looks like a kidney bean. Don't judge my drawing. So as long as your mind has been preconditioned and has basically gotten into a habitual rut of seeking out certain types of women, it's very, very likely that your mind will continue to seek out those types of women just because that's what it's always been doing. Now, I do go a little bit deeper into how all of that psychology works in this other video, and I do trainings on this type of psychology not only during my workshops but also in my one-on-one coaching, and if you're interested in any of that, I have some more information at the end of this video. Okay, so that's all fine and good, David. But if my mind is rigged against me to do this, if my mind is rigged against me, as it often is, then how am I going to create a better dating future for myself? Well, I'm glad you asked. It starts by realizing that you have a tendency to date the same kind of women over and over and over again. Now, please keep in mind that there is a reason, possibly, that your mind has these habits in the first place. Because it is there to protect you. Your mind is there to make sure that you're safe. And so your mind takes the easiest route to success. Your mind has automatically set the standards for what it sees as a great dating option, realistic or not. Your mind is just trying to create what it thinks is the best route to a successful relationship. So cut it a break. What your mind isn't taking into account is the multitude of traits that you might also like and could make a connection with. So once you've identified that there is a pattern in your dating life and whom you choose to date, you can start to make deviations from this well-worn path. For example, let's just say that you decide to switch it up a little bit. And you decide, I just realized that I drew these women as squares in this example. That was not my point. I'm not trying to point out that you should be dating squares. So let's just say that you decide to switch things up a little bit and you decide to start dating different types of women. All right. Well, now you can start to explore the different traits of different women that you may or may not like. Again, like in the example earlier, you look back on your past life and you realize that for the most part, a lot of the women you have dated have basically shared the same traits. Now you can make the conscious decision to pick someone to date that has different traits. Now, before we dive off the deep end here, I would like to caution you about taking this a little too far. If there are traits that you are just opposed, nope, sorry, never gonna happen, no, never, not gonna happen, then obviously you do need to avoid these. Because that is not going to work out anyway. Oil and vinegar may be great in some circumstances, but I would like to point out that oil and water never mix. It would be best to start out with smaller differences. Let's say you normally would not consider say dating somebody who likes dogs. Okay, fine. Try it. Just try it, take notes, and see if you really are compatible with that person. If not, look, that's okay. You didn't marry her. At least, hopefully, you're not moving that quickly. But you will have learned something about a trait in a woman that you did or did not like. And you will have learned something about yourself. Like maybe, for example, you didn't know that you were allergic to dogs. Please note that the first time you go to do this, it will be difficult because your mind will, in fact, try to keep you in your comfort zone. Because, well, hey, it's your comfort zone. That's where it's comfortable, right? But as you do this more and more often, as you explore more and more often, you will find it will become easier and easier and easier. Again, I would never suggest that having a type is 100% a bad thing. There are some things that your mind has identified as good that may in fact be a good idea to stick with. Just don't let it stop you from broadening your horizons. Think about the kind of woman you normally date and seriously consider, what is it about them that is absolutely a non-negotiable I must have, and what areas can you kind of, push the envelope a little bit, kind of explore a little bit with. You might just find the kind of woman for you isn't the kind of woman you thought it was going to be. Again, I do go a little bit deeper on this psychology of how this all works in this other video, which I highly recommend you watch next. I also go deeper on the topic of psychological attraction in my courses, workshops, and one-on-one coaching. And if you're interested in any of that, I have included the links below. And that's the tip for this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends, maybe even leave a comment. And as always, get out there and ace it.